Hello. Welcome to Yoga Intermission this morning. Kind to the spine is our focus. The spine does so much for us, and yet it doesn't stand on its own. Like most of our other body parts, probably all of our other body parts, there's a lot of dependency on one another, on what we eat, on the way we move, etc. So we're going to work on some strength and flexibility as it relates to supporting the spine. Remember that if you stand a skeleton up, it crumbles to the ground. So we need to work the muscles. We pay attention to the ligaments. We need to work things like the core, the glutes, the quads. So we're going to work on foundation, strengthening, and core, and then all 6 movements of the spine: the forward, the back, the side, the bend. We're going to start standing today, so if you have not already joined me standing up, take your time getting there. I'm going to say good morning to the 2 folks who are on specifically, but also all of those who are joining in the recording. So standing somewhere at the front 2/3 of your mat, find your bony hip points. They're the places right in front of the body that are bony, near your hips, generally somewhere like 2 fingers down from your navel, maybe longer if you have a longer waist than I do. And the feet come parallel to the outer edges of the mat. We'll start at mountain pose so we can feel that strength. Maybe even imagining your favorite mountain, or maybe your favorite mountain is more like a hill. We won't make a whole hill out of a mountain, and maybe it's your favorite mountain in your favorite season. Whether that is lots of greens, or maybe it's grays and white. We find the gaze forward and down. A loosening of the jaw. You might even open the mouth. And start to feel the power of the feet. Maybe you imagine that you're using more of your feet, more of your toes. You can spread them out and place them back down. And check in with the knees. They should be firm but not locked. So maybe you take a little bend in them, little bounce. And then draw them backward just before they lock. And check the pelvis. It should be right above the knees, the hips above the knees, head, shoulders, knees, and toes. We take that low belly with the muscles inside the belly. We draw the belly in and up. And we can support that with a little tuck downward of the tailbone. Shoulders are over the hips, and there's a little bit of energy drawing between the shoulder blades if you're shortening the space at the center of your back, right between your shoulder blades. And then check with the head and neck. If you're pressing the head way back, or it's forward, or maybe it's tilted, maybe you can find more of a centering there. Mountain pose, Tadasana. Here we'll consider what brought us to the mat today. My name is Karen. I'm coming to you from Salt and Sand Studios, and what brought me to the mat today is you. Sharing the practice with you, providing tools to make the body work the way it's intended. And those same tools which help the mind and the heart perform with strength and perseverance and resilience and kindness. On an inhale, sweep your arms high overhead. Breathe out, hands to your heart. Inhale, drop your hands by your sides, lift them wide and high. Exhale, hands to your heart. One more time, hands drop, breathe in, reach wide and high. Exhale, hands to your heart. Reconsidering your intention or your motivation. We'll start our practice today with 3 ohms. A count of 3, very repetitively available and utilized throughout yoga, whichever style, throughout mindfulness and meditation training. We'll take a cleansing breath first. Huge breath in through the nose. Let it go out your mouth with a sigh. Long, generous breath in. Drop the hands by your sides. If your eyes were closed, gently open them if that feels right. I'm just going to take a little flip-flop of the arms, little twist left and right. We're not going to go too far because we're working to keep the hips as square to the front of your mat as possible. Maybe you take wider kind of, I don't know what these would be, like strimmer, weed whacker arms. And maybe those hands start to come in contact with the body. And then we pause. Arms reach up. Press the palms together and lift from the hips all the way to the fingertips. Breathe in. Exhale and tilt over to the right side. We're keeping the hips square again. And as even as we can, as we lift the heart to the sky, and find an opening all along the left side of the body. Inhale, lift up. And exhale, tilt to the other side. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, cactus shape arms. We've already taken 4 directions of the spine. We're about to add another one. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. And then drop your hands behind you. Elbows bend to start with so you can situate your pelvis forward and down, a little softness in the knees. And we draw the hands down, the knuckles down toward the earth, finding a little bit of a back bend. Maybe lifting the chin. And then we draw the knees forward and down, sitting into a modified chair pose before we take movement number 6 of the spine. You might tuck your chin a little bit. I'm going to work into the power of the foundation, rocking left and right without a lot of movement of the feet, more working the ankles, the knees, the glutes, the thighs, the belly draws in and up. Pause for stillness, then lift onto the ball of the left foot. Draw the left heel down, lift onto the ball of the right foot. Draw the right heel down, stay seated. In other words, bent knees really, and take a fold over your legs. Take your time. Breathing out. Let the belly come into contact with the thighs. If you're grasping the mat with your toes, see if you can let it go. And the hands, maybe, as they stay interlaced, can float a little away from the spine. Drop your head, nod it, and shake it. Release on a breath out. Swaying left to right. If you like to take a ragdoll or any other bind, feel free, but the head is heavy like a boulder. And maybe if you're swaying left and right, you can straighten one leg at a time, just a little bit. Let's see if that starts to open up all alongside the leg, the IT band. And then pause. See if the fingers can touch the ground. Bend your knees if they cannot. Waggle your eyebrows. Hands to the shins, half lift, Arta Uttanasana. We stay here to draw the belly in, working for a flat back so the shoulders come toward the hips and the belly in and up. But don't ignore the glutes. You're reaching the sitting bones backward, and maybe there's a teeny little unbending of your knees. Breathe in. Exhale, release and fold. It slowly will unravel like a slinky all the way to standing, finding our way back into Tadasana. Arms float wide and high. Exhale, hands to your heart. Hands drop by your sides. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. And we're going to scoot the left foot way to the back of the mat as far as you can. Runner's lunge. I didn't grab my blocks, but maybe that's okay for today. I might use them later. Now check in, reaching that left heel as far behind you as possible. So you might feel a little bit of this in the front of the ankle. You definitely want to spread the toes nice and wide. And exhale, press into the ball and the heel of the front foot and extend that leg, fold over it. Drop your head. Draw the shoulders back. Inhale, peel forward, runner's lunge. Exhale, extend and fold. Inhale, runner's lunge. And once again, exhale, extend and fold. Really reach downward with that back heel. Now we're going to come to kneeling on the left knee. If you fold the mat over or find a blanket, let that happen. Untuck your toes, lift up, finding your way into Untitled. Any modification that works for you here, take it, because this is a back bend, but also a hip flexor opener. And sometimes our knees get cranky. Sometimes our balance is off. We might move the foot out to the right, the front foot. I'm going to stay with my hands by my sides. You can put them on your thigh as well. That can help with balance. You can lift them overhead. Press into the front foot, the shoelace side of the back foot. Feel the quad on the left side and the hip flexor start to activate. And now see if you can squeeze the glutes and the hamstrings on that same side, that back leg. Belly in and up, tailbone tucked down. Inhale, arms high if they're not high. And exhale, take a twist, left arm forward, right arm behind you. Taking that, another movement of the spine here. I'm going to bring a second movement in. As you come forward, the arms draw forward, lift the arms overhead, and drop the right hand to the right hip. See if you can get tall, finding a little deeper back bend. And then exhale to tilt over to the right. You don't have to come very far. If this is challenging for your balance, move the right foot out to the right. But be sure to use that whole foot. Lift the heart toward the sky. Now go ahead and draw the left elbow toward the right knee. It might not touch. Using our obliques, and then rise back up, left arm overhead. The right arm meets it. Find our way into a half split. Hands drop to frame your front foot. That foot sneaks forward. We want to keep the left hip over the left knee. We peel the ball of the right foot away. Lift the toes toward the torso. Maybe the hands crawl backward. Reach forward with the heart. Draw the tailbone down. Breathe in. Exhale. Heart reaches forward and down, and maybe your head drops. Like we did standing, but slightly different. We're going to press the ball of the right foot to the earth. And then lift it off. Press the foot down. Peel it away. And one last time, press the foot down and peel it away. Right foot to the earth. Hands come inside that right leg. Bend into the right knee, tuck your left toes under, and lift the left knee off the mat. Crawl the hands to the long edge of the mat. The toes will point in, the heels out. You might need to shift your feet so they're parallel. We find a forward fold over our legs. Wide-legged forward fold. We'll work into a twist with a little IT band opener, so bring the feet a little closer together. Press into the heels. Right fingertips on the mat under your nose. Drop your head. arm lifts up, or maybe the hand comes to the low back, which is what I'm going to take. Legs nice and sturdy. Breathe in, get long in the spine. Breathe out, find your twist. In and out. One more round. And I feel this in my inner right thigh as well as the outer part of the right leg. And we can drop the left hand to the earth. Take that to the other side. Long on the breath in and twisty on the breath out. Using the outer edges of the feet and the big toe mounds. Hands release to the earth. Bring the hands to your hips, rise halfway up. Draw the belly in, rise all the way up. We're going to move into a warrior two. So we pivot on the ball of the right foot to bring the heel inward. Finding the right middle toe pointing toward the front of the mat. The right knee moves away from the midline. We're as wide as we can be, but if you are like me, you might need to adjust. Power up that back leg. Really squeeze into the heel and the outer edge of the arms float outward in a T. Rise up to the ball of the right foot and sink into that knee. Keep pressing into the back foot. Pause here. You got to use the glutes too. And bring the heel down. Front palm flips. Keep the bend in your knee. Reverse your warrior. We will take this whole sequence again. And we're going to do both sides. So we're actually going to take it roughly 4 more times. Come into warrior two. Hands to your hips. Extend your right leg. Pivot on that heel. So the toes point to the long edge of the mat. And then pivot on the balls of the feet to bring the heels inward and sink down. We're going to take a moment in temple pose, also known as goddess. So we're going to draw the belly in, tuck the tailbone. We're really working our quads. And the arms come into a cactus shape. Lift onto the balls of both feet, sink down, and then draw your heels back down again. Hands to the hips, lift up. Bring your front foot, your right foot parallel to the front of the mat. And we're going to take warrior two the other way. So you might need to extend your stance a little bit. And then pivot on the left heel, so the left toes face the back of the mat, and bend that knee. Warrior two. Drawing the tailbone down, making sure the gaze is over the middle left finger. Arms nice and wide, triceps are activated. We're powering up in the back leg, so squeeze your glutes. Flip your, come to the ball of the left foot, stay here for a moment. Keep the heel lifted, sink into the left knee. Left heel comes down, flip your front palm, reverse your warrior. Warrior two, hands to your hips. Extend your front leg. Both sets of toes face the long edge of the mat. Heel toe your feet toward one another. Not all the way. And then we're going to step to the front of the mat again. Move to Tadasana. I'm getting warmed up, so I'm going to take off my outer layer. Hopefully you're getting warmed up too. I recognize oftentimes because my computer, so you're in Tadasana with hands by your sides. Sometimes my countenance faces the computer instead of the camera. They're not quite at the same angle. So forgive me if I'm looking more to my right and downward, but I really want to look at you. But it's hard to do because I'm practicing too. Alrighty then. Inhale, float the arms high. We're going to come into a chair pose with the arms forward and the palms facing one another, arms as straight as possible. Lock the arms back into your shoulders. Draw the belly in and up. Feet and ankles We often don't think about the fact that they need exercise too. We might walk a lot. We might do other things standing or crouched. We have to love the feet. Reaching the heels off the mat, sink down into your chair a little bit more. And then as the heels draw down, draw the palms behind you. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Rise back up to the balls of the feet. Sink down a little bit more. Draw the belly in, the tailbone down. Heels down, arms come in front. They lock back into the shoulders. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, forward fold. Find your half lift, Arta Uttanasana. Pause here, looking for that long flat back. Exhale, forward fold, and the right leg scoots away to the back of the mat. Set yourself up for your runner's lunge, as long front to back as you can be. And for balance, maybe a little wider, left to right. We're working the shoulders toward the hips, the belly toward the spine, and the hips, especially the left hip and the right heel backward. Breathe in. Exhale, press into the front heel and extend that front leg, drop your head. Right heel reaches toward the earth. Inhale, peel forward, bend your knee, runner's lunge. Exhale, lengthen and fold. Inhale, runner's lunge. One more time, lengthen and fold. Inhale, bend the knee and drop your back knee to the earth. Toes untuck for Anjaneyasana. Take your time. And if you remember what you did on the other side with positioning the hands, take that. If you don't, doesn't matter. Find the hands by your sides to open up the heart, or maybe on your left thigh, or maybe overhead. One more round of breath. We'll meet with arms overhead. Sink deeper into your front knee and then a twist. Right arm forward, left arm behind. Don't forget to squeeze the right glutes and activate the right hamstrings. It can help to press the heel of the front foot to the earth. Really connect the shoelace side of the back foot. If you're grasping the mat with your toes, spread them a little wider. Sink the pelvis forward. Lift the arms overhead. Breathe in. Exhale, hands frame your front foot. Oh, we forgot to do one thing. Inhale, arms overhead. Well, you probably didn't forget, but I did. Left hand to your left hip. Find your balance. Inhale, get tall. Open up the heart. Exhale, tilt over to the left. Belly strong. Inhale, both arms up. Now your half split, Arta Hanumanasana. You can always use your hands to help that front foot move forward. The back foot peels off the earth. You're working to have your right hip over your right knee. And it's helpful either to use blocks or maybe be on your fingertops here if you're not overly stretching your hamstrings at this time. And rather than having the hands way forward toward or past the heel, bring them more underneath your shoulders. You might have a micro or a macro or a mini or a maxi bend in your left knee, but we're going to work that knee a little straighter and press the ball of the foot to the earth. Slowly peel the ball of the foot off. You might find a little movement in the hips here. Imagine the left heel is dragging the mat backward. Press the ball of the foot to the earth. Aiming for a long spine here. Float the ball of the foot off. And ball of the foot comes to the earth. Float it off. We're going to take 2 breaths here. The ball of the foot returns to the earth. Hands move forward to tuck the back toes under and lift the back knee off the earth. coming to the long edge of your mat. Both sets of toes pointing in. Lift halfway up. Exhale, fold over your legs. Now it's your choice here. If you would like to move left and right, take a twist, maybe shift the fingers to face the opposite side of the mat and walk them between your legs. Anything that makes sense with wide legs here. And when I say make sense, I mean listen to your body. Hands draw back underneath your shoulders. The back foot is parallel to the back of the mat. Hands come to your hips, lift halfway up, lift all the way up. Find the distance, left to right, that you need for warrior two. And then pivot on your left heel or the ball that foot to bring the left toes pointing to the front of the mat. The left heel somewhat aligned with the inner arch of the right foot, and the arms float out. Our gaze is over our left hand. Powering up, triceps active. Squeeze the right glutes. Lift up onto the ball of the front foot. Lead the heel off the mat as you sink down. Use the belly. Use the heart. Use the shoulders. Bring the heel back down. Flip your front palm, reverse your warrior. Let's take that here as well. Lift up the heel on the front of the foot. Sink back down, keep your reverse, open up the heart, keeping that heel off the mat just for a couple breaths. And the heel returns, we stay low. Return to warrior two. Hands to the hips, lift up, lengthening the front leg, toes in, heels out, and then heels in, toes out, coming back to goddess once more. At this time from goddess, as we tuck our tailbone and draw the tail downward, we work the knees toward the middle toes. And then we press upward, 5-pointed star. Bring the hands to the hips. Bring your left foot, your front foot, to the front of your mat. And spin the back foot, bend the right knee to come into warrior two, facing the other direction. We're facing the back of the mat. Arms float outward. Adjust where you need to. Yoga is not about perfection. There's no, I perfectly landed in this posture, whatever that means, and I get a 10 from the judges, right? This is about what's right for the body in this moment and where the body goes, where the mind guides it, and where your experience lies. Right heel lifts off the mat, we sink down, we stay here, 3. Press into the left foot, 2. 1, the right heel draws down. Stay low, front palm flips, reverse your warrior. So right arm is high, left arm is low. Right heel lifts off the mat. We draw downward on the right knee. We stay here for a moment. And the right heel returns to the mat. Warrior two. Hands to your hips. Extend the right leg. Heel toe the feet in toward one another. And make your way back to the front of your mat. Lots of standing today, huh? Not sure where all that came from. I guess standing spine, standing long. Maybe that's where it comes from, not sure. Inhale, flow your arms high. Exhale, fold at your hips. Inhale or exhale for your half lift. Exhale for a forward fold. Step back, high plank. Take your time getting there. We're going to pause in plank. Powering up. Lifting the belly in, making real estate between the shoulder blades. Breathe in nice and deep. Use the belly. Exhale, lift the hips, downward dog. You might waggle the hips left and right, maybe bend into the knees. Maybe play around with what the feet are doing. Check that the feet are not too close together, so they shouldn't be any closer than your bony hips, but they should be around wide hip distance. If that feels okay, there's, I said should, there's no real should, but for alignment, that's kind of a good aim. Rise up to the tippy toes, press the belly and the chest toward the thighs. I have my t-shirt is in my mouth. Draw the heels down, keep the chest pressing toward the thighs. Roll forward, high plank. Reach the heels back. Exhale, downward dog. High plank. Exhale, downward dog. Tiptoe to the front of the mat. Feet behind your hands. Forward fold. Half lift. Fold over your legs, Uttanasana. Unravel all the way to standing, arms lift high. Exhale, hands to your heart, Samastiti. Hands to your hips. Step the right foot one step back on your mat. Often that has us, as you can see here, if you look up, shifting into the back foot, but we want equilibrium. So left toes point a little toward the upper left corner of your mat. Start at a slight ankle. Not ankle, but your ankle's working. And the right toes point forward. Feet might draw a little wider depending on the mobility of your hips and the flex of your hamstrings today. Square your hips to the front of the mat. So if you're starting with your hips facing the upper left corner, that's not where you want to be. And press energy into the ball of the front foot, and then the heel, and the ball of the back foot, lower halfway down. We're moving into pyramid pose, Parsvottanasana. Pyramid, so the triangle, if you will. Sorry, not the triangle. The triangle shape, three-dimensional, is the strongest structure that exists. Fold all the way down, if that makes sense. If you cannot reach the ground, you might bring your hands to your shin. That might feel a little unbalanced. It does for me. So I'm going to use blocks. Lift halfway up, find a long spine. Exhale, fold. You're working to drag the mat back with the right foot so the right hip and the left hip are squared up. Step the back foot up to meet the front. Inhale, float all the way to standing. Take a hold of your left wrist. Exhale, tilt over to the right. Inhale, release the arms high. Opposite grasp, exhale, a twist, tilt over to the left. Inhale, lift high. Exhale, hands to your hips. The right foot steps one step backward. Situate your feet in what the body guides you might be the most appropriate shape, distances, balance. Belly in and up, exhale halfway down. Breathe. Long spine. Exhale all the way down. Again, looking for a long, straight back. So if that means you're not folded deeply, that's okay. If you are getting a stretch and not injuring yourself. Back foot steps up to meet the front. Find your halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold, step into plank. And drop your knees to the earth. We're going to move into a back bend before we go all the way to the mat. Maybe two, we'll see how it goes. We're going to come to kneeling, or as I like to say, standing on your knees. If that's tough on your knees, you can go ahead and fold over your mat or place a blanket underneath you. You can always take this from seated or standing. I like to bring a little space between my knees so that my knees are bony hips width distance. Heels of the hands on the low back, right where the fleshy part meets the back. For some of us, that's higher up than others. We're going to go ahead and press the flesh down. Move the hips forward. So you're starting to open up the quads and the hip flexors here. Lengthen from the top of the pelvis all the way to the sternum. And that means all the way around. Then we squeeze the shoulder blades together. Lift the heart a little bit more. So maybe it's not a huge back bend here. Maybe it's something small, especially if you have low back issues as I do. And take that all again. Press flesh down. Shift the hips forward, lengthen the torso, squeeze the shoulder blades, lift the heart, maybe the head drops back. If you like a full camel or a half camel, you're welcome to bring one or both hands to the foot. You can always tuck your toes under. But if you're taking that, be sure to press the pelvis toward the sky to lengthen out your low back. And for those of us staying in our modified camel, press the flesh. Press the flesh. Say hello to people. Hips forward. Torso extended. Shoulder blades squeezed. Heart like it's lifting toward and creating a star. Head back. Slowly draw the shoulders over the hips. If your hands were on your feet, bring the hands to the heart. And sit back down on your heels. If that's difficult for you, you can place a blanket underneath your thighs. So that would be actually placing it on top of your calves, behind your knees. Or you can always widen the knees and bring a block to the glutes. We are going to take one more back bend here before we go all the way to the mat. So I'm going to shift forward to the middle of the mat. Feet can be slightly wide or together, or you could be in a hero's shape, but upright. So for heroes, your knees would be together and the heels would be outside your hips. You're going to go ahead and shift the pelvis forward. You probably can't really see that in my demonstration, but I'm shifting the pelvis forward and bringing the hands behind me. Contacting my feet, they could be on the feet. You can always have your fists in your in your arches. And then we're going to take the back bend this way. We're going to start to lengthen, hands behind. Shift the pelvis forward and up. Really draw the glutes downward. And same thing. Lengthen the torso. Squeeze the shoulder blades, lift the heart. Pelvis forward, squeeze that tailbone downward and forward. Extended torso, narrowed shoulder blades, heart rising and shining, and head back. What I love about this is that it opens up, for me, the quads and the hip flexors as well. And I can be very conscious, very mindfully aware of what's going on in my low back, which is forcing me to press the pelvis forward as opposed to up. Slowly come back to sitting on your heels. We're going to work into Balasana. Arms will sweep around in front. We're doing Balasana One, so child's pose 1, knees together, feet together. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen in the low back. Draw the top of the head to the earth. And then one at a time, the hands can sweep behind you, coming into contact with your feet or your ankles or the outer parts of your legs. Drop the shoulders toward the earth. Your arms will sort of roll forward and outward. Or the backs of the arms roll outward. Huge breath in. Complete breath out. Imagine that the breath is traversing the spine up and down. And when it gets toward the bottom of the spine, it's spreading really wide across the low back, into the sacrum, the SI joints. And when you're ready, hands will come under the shoulders. You find your way in whatever way makes sense to your seat. We've worked our foundational elements in our fundamentals here. We've worked the spine in all 6 directions, although we'll do a little bit more on the twisting in our either seated or supine posture. Not sure which yet. We've done a little bit of core, so we're going to do a little bit more because it rhymes and because it's beneficial for the body. So bring the feet to the earth, the knees bend. Advised not to have the inner edges of the feet together unless you can really, it's easy enough for you to keep your knees together. I'm going to spread my feet a little bit here. You might place your hands on your kneecaps to start, so that you can find a nice long, tall spine. Belly in and up, shoulders, make space between your ears and your shoulders. The arms float out in front now, and then they lock into your shoulders. If you've practiced with me for a while, you've already done this before. Take a big breath in. As you exhale, use your belly to come just a couple inches downward, but keep a nice long spine and lift the heart. Breathe in. Exhale, hands stay as wide as they are, and we twist a little bit to the right. Breathe in. Twist a little more to the right. Using our, can't remember the name of them. So nice torso twist using the belly. Inhale, come to center. Exhale, twist to the left. Obliques, that's the right word. Inhale, twist a little bit more. Inhale. Exhale, come part way down. We only have one more round of this, so you be strong. You got this. Balls of the feet to the earth. Inhale. Exhale, twist to the right. Hands stay shoulder distance. Inhale. Exhale, twist a little bit more. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, center. Woo! Exhale, twist to the left. You got this. I got this. Everybody's got this. Inhale. Twist a little bit more. One more round of breath. Inhale, center. Exhale, unroll all the way to earth, arms overhead. Yippee! All right. Thumbs hook, fingers spread wide. If it feels okay, you'll extend the legs onto the earth. Point the toes forward. Full body pencil stretch. Ooh, yeah. We're going to glide the soles of the feet back to the earth. Shift the hips to the right and take a twist with the knees to the left. Shoulder blades aiming to kiss the earth. And the arms flopped out. Gaze to the right if that's accessible to you. Huge breath in. Full breath out. Soles of the feet to the earth. Shift the hips over to the left. Drop your knees right. Let the gaze move to the left, opposite your knees. Complete breath in. Full expulsion. Soles of the feet return to the earth. Bring your spine as straight as it would naturally be, top to bottom. Hug your knees in and then find your choice of a happy baby or virtual legs up the wall. I'm actually going to stay with my knees squeezing so I can take some ankle circles and knee circles. We're going to take 3 breaths wherever you land here. Transition to your final resting posture, whatever that means for you. If you need to bend your knees and you have a prop, it's kinder to your spine to place the prop under your knees and extend your legs so that you're resting. But if you don't have that, no biggie. You can bring the soles of the feet to the earth, knees bent to the sky. Everyone, whether legs extended or bent, your feet are a little wide, your arms are away from your body a little bit or a lot of it, and the palms float upward. Shoulder blades sneak toward the hips on the same side, and we take a cleansing breath. Shavasana, the place where the whole practice has an opportunity to integrate the breath work, the mindfulness, whatever's in your heart, and the physical practice. Deepen the breath once again. Scooch the soles of the feet to the earth and shift onto one side. Doesn't matter which side. Pick one that works for you. Curled up into a little ball. Come back to your intention or your motivation. Press yourself back to a comfortable seat. Eyes can remain closed or half masked. We'll close the practice with a single sound of Om, the vibration of which connects us to all living things, energy around and in them, meeting the energy around and in us. Inhale, arms wide and high. Exhale, hands together like they found a home at your heart. All the air releases from the lungs. We share the merits of the practice, connecting with all beings, using the sound of Om or silent Om. Inhale deeply. Thumb knuckles meet the center forehead. In body, mind, and heart, may you be strong. May you be flexible. May you be purposeful. Namaste. Thank you oh so much for practicing, just for practicing. That's great to have you here practicing with me with Salt and Sand Studios. Practice is the most important. If you have an opportunity to donate, please feel free, but this is a community class, so if you don't have funding, totally cool. The class is for you regardless. I hope to see you again soon. And if you have opportunity, join me on Tuesday nights, Friday nights, and Sunday mornings for Vinyasa, Spa, and Stretch and Flow in that order. I hope to see you either there or here. Have a great one. Take care. You're welcome.